Hi everyone. Today I want to show you how to make yourself a nice tailor arm that you could put on your mannequin. I'll show you the small version. The small version is the same version, but just with a little triangle on top, and you could pin it on each side of your mannequin. You could use it to drape. You could use it to iron your garment, and you could use it to present some garment also that needs the arm volume. Okay, so to do that, you're going to cut your sleeve or arm pattern on muslin. I suggest you cut double layers so it's going to be stronger and it's going to resist much longer. As you could see on mine here, I usually top stitch the sleeve with even a double thread contrasting color so you could see the grain line also that you might need for draping. So you're going to reproduce the construction line that you find on your pattern on the muslin on one layer only on all the pieces. So all pieces are cut double, underarm piece, top sleeve. You have here the armhole for the inside, and you have the little triangle to pin it on the mannequin, and you also have the wrist part right at the bottom with one construction line. You're also going to need a little piece of fleece or thick wool just to do the ease at the sleeve head and create the volume. So now we're going to go and do the top stitch on grain line and all construction line on the sewing machine. Alright, so when you want your top stitch to show most, you should put two bobbin of thread that you pass together in all your little holes, and it might be a little harder to thread it at the needle, so you could use those hole threader the best, and it should go pretty easy. So you pass it through and your double thread inside, and here you go, you have your double thread. The other little adjustment that you might have to do, okay, is to release the tension just a little bit because it's thicker, so it is giving more tension to the disc. The other thing, if you want to make your top stitch more apparent, is that you could also elongate your stitch. The longer they are, the more they're going to show. And you stitch right on your grain with the 2 layers of fabric. Alright, so now all my top stitch are done. You have the bicep line, the grain line for sure, bicep line and elbow line. Those are the most important, and you have them on the underarm piece also. So the first thing we will prepare is the little triangle. We'll make sure we don't forget about it. So you're going to take it and sew one side, one of the short side, straight line at the 1 centimeter seam allowance, and assemble one side to the other at 1 cm. And you could open and make an understitch on one side. It does not matter which side you pick because it's a symmetrical piece. Then you could easily flip the side that doesn't have the seam allowance over, very tight at the corner, and sew the other side at 1 cm also. So now you should be able to turn and have a nice corner. So allowance also towards the bottom, you hold your corner and you push it out. It should give you a nice sharp corner. And to finish the preparation, just make a stay stitch to hold the 2 pieces together. Okay, next thing we're going to do is creating the 3D or the little bump at the sleeve head, a bit like we're doing on tailor sleeve. You're going to use your bias fleece or wool, and from notch to notch you're going to sew the sleeve head, pulling at about 0.9, just a little bit inside the seam allowance, and you're going to pull on your bias to create the ease. And it does create your sleeve head. So next thing to do is to sew your triangle on the sleeve head. You should have a notch right in the middle of the triangle, and you could align it with your grain line. So I'm going to start in the middle and sew on each side. Now you just make sure that you keep the shape of the sleeve and use the same stitch that you did for the bias. Voila. So now we're sure that when we assemble the sleeve, we don't forget about this little piece. So now this is the top sleeve. You're going to take the under sleeve and put it face to face with your top sleeve. They should be aligned the same direction. So if you do two at the time like me, make sure you don't mix up the piece. This is a right side up pattern, like that. So my right side is like that. They go opposite direction, but when you sew them, they're in the same direction. And you're going to sew the front side completely, and the back side, that's the one with the angle, you're going to keep an opening of about maybe 15 centimeters to be able to turn it inside out. So I'll start with the front, and I'm going to try to align the two reference lines. For the other side, I usually keep the opening area at the bottom part of the sleeve because that's the hardest place to sew. I'm going to sew from the top this time, matching the bicep line. So now we're going to start with the small piece. This is the wrist piece. So you put the double notch together, and I suggest you keep your sleeve on top, the circular piece under. It'll be easier for you. Turn it up, place your double notch, and start sewing. So you could check to see if everything is okay, and then we'll sew the armhole. Okay, so now we're going to sew the armhole piece. You should have a double notch at the underarm completely, and you should be matching it with a double notch that you have on the circular piece. So you're going to sew again with the round piece on top. So round area, if you have to, just do a little snip extra It's going to help you, maybe 5 millimeter long, just to help you to keep the piece straight. Take your time and you do it just one time. So on the other side, you're also going to have a notch where you start the ease. And the next reference should be matching the seam with the notch on the circle. When you're finished sewing your armhole, you could pull it in, pull it out, make sure your shape looks nice, that you don't want unwanted pleat, because you could still go and fix it. And you turn the bottom that we already checked, and you're gonna start filling it with mousse, or it could be foam that you use to fill cushion or stuffed animal. And you're going to start with the top and make it as hard as you want. Okay, so now I'm finished with the filling of my arm. It's stiff enough. Not too much, especially over here at the sleeve head. Not too much because you don't want it to be more than a real shoulder. When you're done, you're going to thread a needle and you're going to close the scar of the arm. You could hide your knot inside the little seam allowance. So you could do big X if you want, or you could just do the slip stitch by going from one side to the other, and inside the pleat you go about 5 millimeter further inside the pleat and you pull, and then you go directly to the other side and same thing, about 5 millimeter, and go directly to the other side. I will do a few more and show you what it does when you pull your thread. So directly on the other side, align 5 millimeter inside the pleat, and let's do one more. So when you do pull your thread, it should close completely the fabric. So you continue to close all your arm and your job is done. Okay, so here's the arm that we just finished, almost finished. I'll show you how it goes on the mannequin. So holding with the little triangle, you could just pin it and do your draping or your presentation. And like I said, for pressing, what's best to put inside the sleeve to press the tailor sleeve, underarm seam, and even for legs, pants legs, you could use it, just push it in, and it's pretty easy to use. So I hope you enjoy, and I see you next time. Don't forget that if you want the pattern for this one, you could get it on the Toolfully site. That will be available pretty soon. Thank you for watching.